So, first of all, welcome, Jonathan James, to this episode of Convenience Talks. Thank you so much for making the time to join us. I'm sure that you're incredibly busy at the moment. The majority of people in convenience will know who you are, but just in case there's a couple of people that don't, could you just introduce yourself for anybody watching, please?
Yeah, morning, Katie. I'm Jonathan James. I'm the chairman of James Convenience Retail Limited, which is a group of 54 stores based in Bowlborough, near Chesterfield in Derbyshire. And we operate stores across East Midlands, north, some northwest, some north of England. Predominantly, we tend to specialise in quite transient sites, but equally we have numerous neighbourhood stores. Been in the industry 20 years now. I don't know where it's gone, but I've been in it 20 years. So that's me.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Jonathan, I obviously know you quite well. I know your stores. We've already had a bit of a conversation about what happened immediately, but for those other people watching, what was the initial immediate impact on James Retail when the coronavirus sort of first hit?
So we've got a bit of a mixed bag of stores, which in one sense has been not so good, and in another sense has been very good, because everybody automatically thinks convenience you're going to be extremely busy, and indeed a number of our stores are very busy. And the immediate impact, particularly those what I sort of call more community stores, was very, very quick.
Mm-hmm.
So people started to come to us very quickly indeed. And store turnover, we saw anything go from sort of 20% up to 80% up.
Wow.
It was absolutely staggering. In the bus station stores, as you can imagine, public transport's been decimated, to say the least. So whilst we tried to keep the bus station stores going, we had to unfortunately close a number of those. So we've got a number of stores that are actually closed and will open up when the public transport system opens up. So in answer to your question, a mixed bag, some brilliant, some amazing, and the team stepped up really incredibly well and served the communities that we serve very, very well, very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And people were coming back to the stores far, far more regularly than we were used to. And also, obviously, like everybody else, we were seeing lots of new faces.
Yeah.
So that was a very positive impact.
And how easy did you find it as a company to adapt to the situation? So, you know, with masks or with screens and with social distancing within the stores, how did you, because you've got a big estate, how did you sort of roll that out across the estate, and how easy was that to do?
It's never difficult. It's never easy. It's always very, very difficult when you've got a larger estate. I mean, I went from running 5, 6 stores, and I was really on it. I've got a brilliant team headed up by Mark Titterton, and we got area teams. We were quite lucky, and I belonged to a number of groups of retailers, and it was very evident that the Irish guys were probably up to 2 weeks ahead of us. So a number of the groups I belong to, one in particular called the Independent Retail Owners Forum, the WhatsApp was going quite crazy, and they were recommending, because they had to react sort of ahead of us, if you like. We were seeing quite quickly the things they were saying, so we had a little bit of a head start on a number of people. The Association of Convenience Stores was giving us brilliant advice, obviously very much on legislation, and very operational advice as well, again from other groups that I'm involved in within the ACS. So we were ahead of the curve.
Mm-hmm.
And what was very evident from what the Irish guys were saying is you need to make your store safe, obviously predominantly for the team, but also very much for the customers. And customers would come back where they felt they were safe. So priority was very much, we were very up to date with putting in sneeze screens, for example, putting barrier tape on the floors for the 2 metre social distancing, gloves where the team wanted them, hand sanitizer. Again, we must have been one of the first to put hand sanitizer out for the team members. So it was a challenge. It always is a challenge rolling out to 54 stores. But it was the team rose to that challenge, and very quickly we were ready to trade, as we saw it, safely and very compliant with Public Health England,
Yeah.
and obviously what our customers demanded.
And do you think that these, so I mean, you know, obviously we know what the situation is now. We had the conversation from Boris last night as to what's going on. I'm not sure any of us are any clearer really after that. But for you, going forward, what do you think the changes that have happened within the convenience market are that will stay as we go forward into the new normal and the new future?
Again, well, I think the new normal is going to come in different phases, the same as the government's looking at for ourselves, because it's not until people feel safe that they're going to shop, I believe, anywhere near to how they were prior to the virus hitting the country. So we are seeing a lot of people come to us because they feel safer in the smaller shops, and I think for some time to come, that will become the norm. I think the challenge for us is to ensure that we keep stocked. That's easier now than it was even so much as a week ago. Availability was very, very patchy. So we need to keep the ranges that people are demanding, particularly local ranges. People have been very, very keen to get local where they can, and the local suppliers.
That increased on what you would normally see then, the amount of local produce being bought.
Yeah, very much so. As did the local suppliers plug in the gaps, for want of a better term. So we've always been very proud of our association with local suppliers, and that has really come to the fore in this. So that will be something that we've got. I think we often see weather can change people's buying habits, but that is a temporary change. I think because of the length this has gone on, this is actually very habit forming because of, and looks like it's going to go on for a while yet. So because it's habit forming, I think we've got to retain the goodwill that people have given us. And obviously we've repaid where we can. We've got to keep the ranges there. We've got to keep the availability there. But we've got to keep the perception that which is the right perception, that we are doing right for the communities. We're providing them with what they need at the point they need it. And that extends to things like home delivery, which is something that I've done previously when I owned supermarkets. But with convenience stores, it's not something that we've done. And it's not something a lot of people have done. But a lot of people are now doing deliveries. And I think that will become the new norm, that people will want that luxury of home deliveries from their local convenience store. And because we can deliver probably a lot more frequently, it's a lot less hassle to get it from ourselves, because there's not technology involved, which the more elderly and vulnerable people in society are probably not that at ease to use or even have available. And so that's something we've got to tap into very well, which indeed we are doing. So moving forward, I think it will be a different landscape. With home news delivery, for example, that was probably in decline. It's not now. There are lots more people who come to us wanting the newspaper delivered at home.
Yeah.
So that, you know, we can. I think we're the third largest deliverer of newspapers in the country. So we're delivering to over 12,000 homes every day. Within a week, we gained 300 more news accounts. So that's something we very much want to.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think about consumer behaviour, because that's what we do as a business. So I'm thinking about that. But actually, the way that consumers are interacting with different categories has changed fundamentally in some ways. And I suppose that will, I mean, personally, yes, I've started to get my newspapers delivered. I haven't ever had my newspapers delivered. So, you know, I suppose there are some areas like that where the category may have been not necessarily failing before, but certainly evolving and changing, where now actually that category is going to be interacted with very, very differently going forward.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're saying. I mean, cooking at home.
Yes.
You know, we saw the demand for flour absolutely went
you
through the
can't
roof.
make yeast, not for love nor money.
Exactly. Well, who would have believed that would have happened? You know, baking at home.
Yeah.
and I know you do a lot with the on trade. So drinking at home, I mean, obviously our alcohol category has gone up 80%.
I think it's gone up 80% in my household as well, to be honest.
They're staggering figures. They
Yeah.
are absolutely staggering figures, and they're not long may they continue for ourselves, but obviously that'll when the pubs and restaurants are allowed to open, that will change,
Yeah.
and rightly so. But
Mm.
at the moment, it's changed people's habits so much. And one of the things that's been fantastic is seeing how the community has come together. A friend and colleague of mine had harnessed the local volunteers, had made deliveries to local village halls, dropped off people's shopping at those village halls, and then volunteers taking them round.
Wow.
The village my parents live in, 600 people live in the village. 75 volunteered in the first 2 days to deliver to the elderly and vulnerable.
Wow.
Now, how's that going to change shopping habits? So you've got people who are now shopping for other people, which was we hadn't seen that before.
Yeah.
So how can that change?
I suppose operationally, do we need to understand that some people might be doing 2 or 3 different shops? How we package that, how we charge it, how we, yeah, absolutely. I suppose there's quite a lot to think about there, and I wonder if that will continue. I mean, certainly, I've got somebody doing my grandma's shopping for me, and I mean, she's infuriated by it because they keep buying her the wrong sizes of things, but she's infuriated by anything. So, but yeah, so I do wonder how we have to, as an industry, look at that challenge as well.
Yeah, yeah, and we'll adapt. There's one thing we're brilliant at in the independent sector. It's adapting and adapting quickly. And some of the ideas that have come forward have just been astounding as to the way people have done that. There's so many wonderful, wonderful stories. We've had brilliant feedback. BBC Radio Nottingham went into one of our store managers because his community nominated him as a local community hero for the work that he'd done. And that's just one. There's numerous comments we're getting back through social media or letters dropped off. People really appreciating that the team have gone that extra mile to serve them in times that are been causing concern for the team members as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And their families.
Yeah. So lots of changes, lots of challenges, also quite a lot of opportunities for the sector. Just to finish off with, Jonathan, are you optimistic for the future of the convenience sector following, once lockdown finishes and we all go back to our day-to-day lives?
I'm incredibly optimistic. As I said earlier, I think this has been habit changing as well as habit forming. So I think a lot of people have seen convenience stores in a light that they hadn't seen before. Many had even stepped into the store who'd never ever been to the stores before. And no doubt, obviously, when the figures are coming back on a regular basis. As I said, it's for us to make sure they continue coming back. But now they've come through the door, I can only look at ourselves as a family. We've started using a local butcher we hadn't used before. Well, we're going to carry on because the guy's brilliant and the service is excellent. So that's not going to change us. And that's just us as one family with one local store. So, yeah, I'm incredibly optimistic about the convenience sector. I think it's put us in a spotlight that we hadn't before. I do get frustrated when you hear the politicians on the television referring to supermarket workers, and supermarket workers have done a phenomenal job. But people don't see us as supermarkets. They see us as convenience stores. So it would have been handy if we had referred to supermarket workers and convenience stores.
Yeah.
So I think people are coming to us who hadn't, and I think they'll see exactly what it is we'll do. As I've said in the past, the corner shop of 20 years ago is not the convenience store of today. And the services that we offer are so much more different. So I think actually coming out of it, it'll be an extremely exciting time.
Brilliant. Lovely. Jonathan James from James Retail. I can't thank you enough for coming on because you're obviously incredibly busy at the moment. Really appreciate your time and your energy and your passion for the sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katie.
Thank you.